I'm going to spend some time during this video to concentrate on the very heart of Poizone, the oscillators that generate the sounds you hear. It is this that is the very essence of subtractive synthesis. Although I'll cover more advanced sound design in later videos, this will give you a good grounding in learning how to work with Poizone. Master the oscillators, and as I will show you in the next video, the filter, and you have pretty much mastered the entire instrument itself. I am starting with a completely fresh sound here. You can do this by selecting to Initialize Program from the Options drop-down menu in the Master Controls section. The controls we will run through in this section are clearly marked in the interface by the bold yellow border. The first section determines the mix of the three oscillators. This is done in two stages. The first control, labeled Osc, is used to determine the balance of the two oscillators. Moving far left is given a sound that's totally oscillator A, and far right, oscillator B. Once you have the balance adjusted to the way you prefer, you can then take the results of this and mix this with the white noise oscillator. Moving this control far right will give you 100% white noise in relation to the sum of the other two oscillators. And as you back this off, you will go back to the pure oscillator sound, as defined by the first control. Oscillator A, like oscillator B, is capable of working both as a saw or pulse oscillator. On both of these, the mode of operation is switched by turning on the pulse control, which when active is lit. The difference between the two sounds is quite clear. The saw sound gives more of a raspy sound, whereas the pulse sound sounds more solid. In pulse mode, you can then adjust the pulse width control. Moving this to the left will narrow the pulse width and has the effect of making the sound thinner. Note the change in the sound that comes when you move the pulse width control. This in itself can be used as a destination for automation. I'll come back to the ring and sync switches in a second, as both of these change the way oscillator A is affected by oscillator B. I can set up oscillator B in the same way. I'm going to leave this as a saw sound and set the balance to 50%. When I press a key on my keyboard, you can hear both oscillators working together. Moving back to oscillator A, I can now engage the ring modulation mode. Ring modulation, in the case of Poizone, changes the way in which oscillator A works. Essentially, the output of oscillator A is multiplied with the output of oscillator B, and this becomes the new output of oscillator A. Ring modulation is rich in the upper harmonic content, and is very commonly used to make metallic or bell-like sounds. In the process, though, oscillator B will remain untouched. You can also choose to synchronize oscillator A with oscillator B, so that every time oscillator B restarts, so does oscillator A. Oscillator B lacks both these options, but has pitch and detune controls instead. As you gain control and confidence in mixing and matching the two oscillators, you can then begin to understand the variety of different sounds that are available.